that are just simply going to be issued in class actions, which eliminates the problem. And so
George,
I think we're just going to
sorry to
end
interrupt
up
you.
in a very short
Melissa
order.
has been vigorously shaking her head for a while.
Because, George, you are wrong.
Okay.
You are wrong, and you know you are wrong.
Okay.
First of all, this case, Trump versus Casa, involves not just individual litigants, but also states as litigants. And you know, as a lawyer, that the federal rules of civil procedure do not permit states and organizations like Casa to present themselves as candidates for class actions. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure number 23 only applies to persons. So the idea that anyone could go forward as a class action is absolutely ludicrous, and you know that.
George,
Listen, I admire you and I love you,
Yep.
and I agree with a lot of what you say, but you're wrong. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 23B2 basically says this is exactly the kind of case where a class action should be certified.
Not
and yes,
with the state,
states
George.
Can't ask,
not with organizations like Casa,
fine,
George.
But there are individual. Excuse me. Individuals can bring large class actions here, and the states have every right to seek a relief that affects them. Yeah, I mean, again, I think we're going to end up with coverage nationwide very soon, because there are going to be multiple lawsuits, multiple class actions, and there are going to be broad injunctions issued against this unlawful and outrageous interpretation of the 14th Amendment.
By the way, we've had, in case you've just tuned in, quite a few awful Supreme Court, Planned Parenthood yesterday. This one, Supreme Court rules with Trump on birthright citizenship challenge. The court's ruling can now mean once a child born to non-citizens parent leaves certain states, they won't be considered a U.S. citizen. Okay, hold please. On to the homo gay books. Hold on. Supreme Court backs parents seeking to opt their kids out of LGBTQ books in elementary school. Thank God. Thank God kids are safe from, as a mom, you must be relieved your kids are safe from gay penguins.
Oh, well, the gay penguins, the hermaphrodite worms. I mean, my kids were not safe. At least now they get to go and read books about heroes like Donald Trump and Tucker Carlson, because that's the white boy fan fiction they need. I mean, by the way, in the state of Florida, there was a district that banned the dictionary for what they said was pro-LGBTQ plus content in the dictionary. So if you think this isn't a slippery slope to making our kids even dumber and actually indoctrinating them with the lies and revisionist history that the Republicans want to shove down their throats, that's what we're looking at. I mean, it's really terrifying.
Well, it is called
terrifying.
It's called the dictionary for
I was just going to say, whoever ruled that put the in dictionary. We collided.
We did.
When dictionary comes out of your mouth, it's okay. But if dictionary comes out of my mouth.
Stop it. Just tiptoeing on the line. Binky, binky, bink. Okay. So we've been obviously talking about the right MAGA just losing their complete over the New York City mayor, mayor thing. New York Republican has called on the federal government to strip him of his citizenship and deport him. There's another, congressman said the same thing. The White House framed the upset victory by Mamdani, who would become the city's first Muslim and Indian-American mayor, as an evidence of uncontrolled migration. He's been here since he was 7. I mean... JoJo, you're obviously back there in Jerz. What is your take on this? Because here we go. Holman vows to triple ICE raids in New York City because of if they elect Mamdani. I mean, so you're next on their target list.
Again, we were talking about this off when we weren't recording, but like there's this pendulum swing, because the Democratic Party establishment really wants to hold on to their power, and they want to do things the way that they've always done them. And you can't do that. That's the definition of insanity.
Agreed.
We got wiped out in 24.
Right.
We lost everything. Yeah. So because they won't budge, they won't move, they won't adapt, the other side turn themselves into a cult, friends, because they won't do that. The pendulum is swinging so wildly to the other side that you end up with a socialist.
I just thought that, as I thought, they actually did this with these wildly unpopular ICE raids and mass deportation. It's almost like Mamdani is a reaction to, and also because he's speaking out. He's speaking out against fascism. He's, addressing ordinary New Yorkers' concerns about cost of living. Yeah. He's walking the entire island of Manhattan.
Cost of living is the biggest thing.
He has that AOC energy in New York,
He does, and he has utilized social media very adeptly. And this is the world that we live in, and the reality that we live in, and the reality that the Democratic Party, the establishment, just doesn't seem to be able to embrace. And I think that we need
Right.
to find some kind of middle ground here, because if we don't exist, the party can't exist and survive in the extremes. And so we have to figure out some kind of commonality and some sort of like middle ground.
Like you said, the establishment wants to say, well, can't we just add another hashtag? It's like,
No.
Right.
No.
No, it doesn't work like that.
Well, you have
Not anymore.
you have a young son, and Bella's talked a lot about guys her age. They're well, you're actually go like 18 to 30.
Yeah,
Bella's
more
22.
18 to 30.
Yeah. But about what's because that's obviously been big ongoing. And this guy's to me, I'm not from New York, Joe. I didn't know who he was till 2 days ago. He seems handsome, well spoken, smart. I got great energy. Like I'm excited about new blood in the party. And somebody said, "If politics is addition, I'm happy with a big tent that includes everyone from Joe Walsh to Mondami."
Me too. I will say I agree with you 100% on that. And I think new blood is crucial. I think that we are, by the way, Chris Murphy, who's my favorite senator, he plays catcher on the Senate baseball team, not because he was a catcher, not because he has any skills as a catcher, because he's the youngest guy. He's the only one who can bend down and get up. He'll tell you that. My party is too old.
Yeah,
definitely too old. But something that Mondani did that we need every Democrat and every independent, everybody out there who is trying to push a progressive message towards protecting and preserving this democracy, he made the voters in New York feel seen. He didn't make them feel insane.
And listened to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And quite honestly, Trump did the same thing for the other side.
That's what I was about to say.
Exactly.
This is why these young men are going to Trump, because Trump is telling them they don't care about you. They're not trying to message to you.
True or not.
Yeah, they're like, they don't care about you.
Right.
We care about you. So you come to our side. Right. And that is why this is happening.
I have to say that they are so threatened by him tells you how effective he was, right? I mean, Thom Hartmann warned New York City mayoral candidate Mondami, it's game on after he vowed to stop ICE agents from deporting the city's citizens if he wins. He campaigned openly, saying ICE deportations are fascist, branded himself Trump's worst nightmare. He vowed to Trump-proof the city by removing ICE from city jails, ending all data sharing with federal agencies, shielding undocumented residents from deportation dragnets. What they're doing here in L.A. and around the country, Joe, is wildly unpopular. And I can tell you that from being here in L.A. And so I can understand why he resonated with people. People don't like this, what's happening.
No, you're right. And also the No King's Day protests really sort of spoke to that as well. People are outraged by this and they're taking to the streets. I will say this one cautionary sort of like red flag I have is that I don't think it's particularly great for the party as a whole to be tied to any extreme positions. Right. And I caution some of his positions on particularly, Jewish people, et cetera, are definitely teetering on extreme. And I think what Republicans would like to do is hang that around all of our necks, like an albatross. And we have to be really careful to walk that line because we don't want to give them any more ammunition.
Yeah. And Joe, I will admit, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I wouldn't agree with him on everything. I don't even know who he was till a day ago, but what we do keep repeating on this show is, being anti-Netanyahu or Israel's policy is not anti-Semitic. So if he's gone farther than that, I'm sure I would disagree. But but I couldn't help, speaking of establishment Dems, about Kristen Gillibrand. She ran Al Franken out of the Senate, which still sticks in my craw, and she endorses Cuomo, who has how many allegations? And I don't know. I mean, I feel like saying someone's anti-Semitic is a serious charge, and I don't know if that applies to Mondami.
Yeah, no, I mean, but you're right about Gillibrand. And to your point, what we were also just discussing about Chris mentioning what Trump has done, it is the same sort of thing, just on the other side, where it's like grievance and blame, where it's somebody else's fault and somebody else is the enemy, but also like that component of being seen. But like I wouldn't call him anti-Semitic. I don't, again, know that much about him either, but I would say that he has definitely said some things or not disavowed some things that have upset the Jewish community, and that is something we need to be careful about. But this idea that like I see you and it's not your fault and like you need a champion and I will be that for you, it is a very powerful message. We need more of it, and we need the establishment to move out of the way if they're not going to adapt. And they have to change. We can't keep rowing the same direction because it's led to nothing but failure.
And I mentioned earlier about Bernie. using this victory as a way to lecture Kamala about what she did wrong. And JoJo, you and I talk a lot, even off air, that I'm for lifting everybody up on our side. Why do you have to disparage? Jamie Harrison came out and said it. You don't need to disparage someone else. Go, hey, yay. Even Kirsten Gillibrand. Okay, you don't like anything, you don't like Mamdani. Okay, but go, hey, yay. A Democrat won. The people of New York have spoken. Right? I mean, for now. I mean, he's not in yet, obviously,
right.
but,
Right. He won the primary.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think my party is a party of Veruca Salts. Like, it's every cautionary tale in Willy Wonka, where it's like, I want what I want, and I want it now. And even if that leads to me going down the chute to an Oompa Loompa song, I want what I want. And this is the fatal kind of Achilles heel of our party, where if you're not going to marry these candidates, you're not having their babies.
Yeah.
They need to not be Trump. They need to not be Thom Hartmann. They need to not be MAGA. They need to be pro-democracy. I mean, I feel like people are just nitpicking for their perfect, ideal candidate, and doing the autopsy of 2024 at this point and trying to hang the blame on other people is not a productive way forward. Like, don't look back. You're not going there. You're moving forward.
Yeah. Hey, are you traveling this summer? Will you leave instructions for your house sitter, the name and number of your vet, maybe, the code to your alarm system? Think about the steps you take to prepare for vacation, and you'll get a sense of what goes into a knockbox. Just go to theknockbox.com, use the code Stephanie. Knockbox is a complete system that helps you organize all of your accounts, possessions, and estate plans for your next of kin. Each knockbox, that's Knockbox, comes with a comprehensive checklist that helps ensure you add everything they'll need to manage your estate when you are gone. From your funeral directives to your insurance policies, even the keys to your storage unit, the Knockbox helps you organize it all. If you've got a household, you need a Knockbox. Right now, Stephanie Miller listeners save 16% off the Knockbox of your choice. Just go to theknockbox.com/Stephanie. That's theknockbox.com/Stephanie to get 16% off. Stay calm, get organized today.